What is going on, Pats Nation, and welcome back into another live show here on Patriots Global. As always, it's your boy Colby, and boy, oh boy, do the New England Patriots just make a selection that I don't really think the majority of people saw coming. Now, I don't think it's a major surprise. We know that the Patriots wanted a running back. We know that they wanted a very specific type of running back. They wanted a guy who could be a complementary piece to Rhamondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson, take pressure off of Drake Maye, add a dynamic piece to that running back room. They wanted a guy who was faster, who's quicker, was more elusive than what they have currently in the building. And they got that. They definitely got that here. And I think one of the biggest questions for Patriots fans is, why did you pass up on some of the players that were there? For me personally, I didn't want to see them get a running back in the first. I didn't love the idea about them going running back in the second, especially that early on. But I said, if you want to take a running back as soon as round 3, okay. This is a very good running back class. This is one of the best running back classes that we've seen ever come out of the draft. With that being said, the Patriots should take advantage of that. They should draft a running back in this class. Even someone like Dylan Sampson, who they were heavily linked back to, looking at the third round, was somebody that I thought could be a target for them. Now, I did release a video early on today, just about an hour and a half ago, talking about 11 players I could see the Patriots target today, and I did put TreVeyon Henderson on that list. Why? Because TreVeyon Henderson is the exact mode of running back that we were told so many times by Mike Vrabel, Elliott Wolf, Robert Kraft. He is the type of running back that they wanted, and the writing was on the wall. I'm going to say something that I think will make Patriots fans feel better about this pick, right? The philosophy for the Patriots in this draft was to go BPA, best player available. It didn't necessarily matter about, the positional value or anything like that. It mattered, what are the needs of the team, what's going to help the team the most, and who is the best player on the board that currently fits that. And TreVeyon Henderson 100% does fit that mold. Whether you like that selection or not, it 100% does fit that mold. TreVeyon Henderson was getting a lot of first-round hype in the back of the first round, right? You had Ashton Jeanty go early. You had Amari and Hampton go, in those later 20s. And I think if Amari and Hampton went sooner, we would have seen TreVeyon Henderson as a first-round pick. In fact, I wasn't even sure that TreVeyon Henderson was going to be there by the Patriots' 38th pick here to start in the second round. So it's good value. The Patriots didn't reach. They got a guy that, like I said, was projected as an early second to, back end of the first round pick. But he also wasn't my favorite running back. Look, I've been very vocal that I'm a big fan of these Ohio State running backs. TreVeyon Henderson, Quinshon Judkins, both of these guys were in my top 5. And everybody had a different list, and that's okay, right? Me personally, I liked Quinshon Judkins a little bit more than TreVeyon Henderson. That was my own preference. But again, looking at the Patriots' needs, looking at what they wanted in terms of a mold of a running back, TreVeyon Henderson does fit that. And some people had TreVeyon Henderson even over Quinshon Judkins. Nonetheless, in a loaded running back class, the Patriots are getting a top 5 running back. Now, I do want to answer one of my quick questions here that I know a lot of you are going to be asking, right? By the way, to Lysol, who says, I love you. I love you too, Lysol. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out Ray. Shout out DTN. Shout out Gage. Shout out Ashton. Shout out 4Nation, man. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat, man. I really, really appreciate you guys. Man, shout out to Trey, who just gave a massive donation. We'll get to that in a little bit here. But what I want to start off with here before we break this down is Luther Burden, Mike Green, both obvious first-round projections were still on the board for the Patriots at 38. They didn't have to trade down. In fact, I'll even add one to that list. Donovan Ezeraku, edge rusher out of Boston College, still an option for the Patriots. Why did they not go this direction? And I think defensively, why do you not go Mike Green? Why do you not go Donovan Ezeraku? I think it's because they want to go offense early on. That defense, for the most part, is pretty solidified. They pretty much put the majority of their assets so far this offseason into building up that defense. Free agency was mainly building up that defense. We said heading into the draft, they need to use the majority of their picks, especially on the first 2 days on offense. And I think that's why early on we're seeing them prioritize the offense over the defense. I also think that with, somebody like Mike Green, he does have those reported character concerns. We've heard that, Mike Vrabel, during his time with the Tennessee Titans, he learned not to draft players who had those character concerns. He took his shot on players with character concerns in Tennessee, and it bit him in the butt. And he came out himself and he said, I learned my lesson. I'm not doing that again. Also understanding the fact that the Patriots are trying to build up a culture here. They're trying to set a tone in New England right now because they don't have an identity. And getting players with character concerns is going to prohibit them a little bit from making sure that that identity is established. So I think with players who have reported character concerns, we're not going to see the Patriots target them. That's why Mike Green is falling on draft boards. That's why the Patriots didn't go after him. As for Luther Burden was a projected first-round pick. He's falling for a reason, right? Look at the amount of teams that passed up on wide receivers. Look at the amount of teams that passed up on Luther Burden. The Houston Texans selected a wide receiver. What was it? The second or third pick to start the second round today. They went Jaden Higgins. They could have went with Luther Burden, but they didn't want to. Why are all these teams, even teams that are wide receiver needy, why are they passing up on Luther Burden? There is a reason. It is because of the character concerns. It is because he's someone who, when he's not getting the ball, he's not getting production, he gets upset. He checks out. Again, goes back to the idea that guys with character concerns, it just seems like the Patriots are going to pass up on those guys. And that's why Luther Burden, Mike Green, both of those guys just don't seem like they were an option for the New England Patriots. But I do want to continue to get into this. I do want to continue to talk a little bit more about, who is TreVeyon Henderson? What does he bring? And what is different between him and his college teammate in Quinshon Judkins? Now, real quick, the Patriots here, they're getting a very athletic guy. Now, Henderson is a little bit smaller than Judkins is. Judkins was like 6 foot. Henderson is about 5'10", so he's not going to necessarily bring height there to running back, but it also really doesn't matter. Running back's not one of those positions where you need height. You just need to be able to have a big enough size to consistently take blows, and as you can clearly see, he does have that. The Patriots here, like I mentioned earlier, they're getting that faster. They're getting that quicker running back here. His 40-yard dash was a 4.43. Something else I want to pull up here is, so this is per Next Gen Stats, and basically they track the athleticism. They have different ways that they put players through to figure out what their athletic score is, to figure out what guys are the most athletic players in their class at their respective positions. TreVeyon Henderson, they had tied, it was a 3-way tie for the most athletic running back in this class. More athletic than Ashton Jeanty, by the way. TreVeyon Henderson had an elite athleticism score, as you can see down there, of 92. So it goes all the way up to 100. The elite starts at 90, and he came in at 92. That was tied with Quinshon Judkins, his Ohio State teammate, and also Donovan Edwards from Michigan. Like I said, that was better than Tootin, as you can see, who came in at 5th, and that was also better than Ashton Jeanty, the blue chip bell cow running back that went early in the first round, who came in 4th with an 83 overall grade. The Patriots are simply getting a fast running back that is very, very athletic. So for everybody who's sick of those slow running backs who just get those tough yards, everybody who's sick of the running back that puts his shoulder down and just runs through a guy, that's not what this is. If you want a running back that is going to go off for like a 40, 50-yard touchdown, who has the ability to do so, who can kick it into second gear if he has blockers, that big play potential waiting to happen, that guy is TreVeyon Henderson. Do you guys remember back in 2022 when the Patriots got Pierre Strong? They selected a type of running back with Pierre Strong that they never get. Pierre Strong was that faster, elusive running back. But the Patriots didn't have an offensive coordinator that actually knew how to use him. Now, with somebody like TreVeyon Henderson, they have somebody like Josh McDaniels. Maybe they can marry those two concepts together. I think one of my biggest concerns, or not even concerns, but one of my bigger questions with TreVeyon Henderson, I actually want to pull up his number. Should have done this beforehand. That's my bad. Real quick. Where is it? Okay, so the only question I really have about him is he was much better in a gap system than he was in a zone system. We know that with Josh McDaniels, they're going to run Oh, wow, the Cardinals here are drafting Will Johnson here at 47. So Will Johnson finally off the board. That's crazy how much he fell. But we know that the Patriots are going to run a zone style of offensive scheme under Josh McDaniels. He had a 79.7 overall zone grade this past season, was elite when it came to gap with a 91.4 overall grade, but had an elite last 2 seasons there over at Ohio State. He had 4.43 yards after contact per attempt. He was also tied for 15th in the nation of carries of 15 plus yards or more. The big concern for him is the injuries, right? He battled injuries significantly over the last 2 seasons, which is going to prohibit him from being a bell cow running back, essentially, right? That's the big thing. With TreVeyon Henderson, I don't expect him to be the future of the New England Patriots running back core. I don't see him as that number 1 guy. Now, maybe he can become that. Maybe he proves me wrong, but I do still feel like with this addition, this is running back by committee. This is not a bell cow type of addition. That's the only part I don't love about his game. Other than that, I love the addition. It's really just the injuries that I have concerns about, and it's how does he fit in this specific scheme? Because he had a really good elusive rating too. He had a 108.9 elusive rating, so this guy gets off the line really, really quick. The other thing that I think the Patriots are really going to like about him, I think a big part on why they drafted him, is he's also really, really good in pass protection. So while the offensive line still has some question marks, they're still trying to shore up the offensive line, TreVeyon Henderson is going to give them immediately the best running back that they have in pass protection to block for Drake Maye when need be. So this helps a little bit more in terms of protecting Drake Maye. The other thing, too, is that this is another addition that takes that pressure off of Drake Maye. We talked about how Will Campbell takes that pressure off of Drake Maye for obvious reasons. He's blocking for him. But TreVeyon Henderson is also going to take some of that pressure off of Drake Maye because now the running back room is going to open up a little bit. The success of this running back group is going to open up for the Patriots next season, which is going to make this offense multi-dimensional. It's going to make them less predictable. The Patriots are going to run the ball to open up the pass. And I think that's going to help out Drake Maye significantly. I do still think he's also developing as a receiving back. I don't think he's elite there, but it's not because he can't do it. I just think that it's more so he is developing in that area, but he was a 5-star recruit coming back from 2021. In 2024, he was the 3rd-team All-Big Ten team captain, and in 2023, he was the 1st-team All-Big Ten. In 2022, he was an honorable mention All-Big Ten, and in 2021, he was a freshman All-American, 2nd-team All-Big Ten. And I want to read you guys here what PFF has to say about him. So PFF says, and I quote, Henderson, when playing confidently, shines in his agility and launch speed. He lacks some size for tackle breaking and pass blocking, which I don't agree with the pass blocking part because I think he's, one of the best pass blockers in this class. But they also say that he remains a high effort player in those areas. So even those areas that he is still raw at, he's still developing at, he still is giving that high end effort. He shows that he wants to develop, that he wants to get better, which is the most important part. He seems like a good speed component of an NFL committee, including for receiving work out of the backfield. So I think the biggest question is, what does this mean for Rhamondre Stevenson? What does this mean for Antonio Gibson? And I think right now, it's just more so that insurance policy. I don't think that tomorrow you're going to see Rhamondre Stevenson or Antonio Gibson traded or cut or anything like that. I think it's going to be one of those situations where we're going to see what this looks like during the offseason. We're going to see what it looks like in training camp and the preseason. And maybe it's one of those moves where if the Patriots feel confident in what they have, maybe ultimately they end up trading one of those guys before roster cutdowns during the preseason, kind of like they did with Matthew Judon. This move, as high as it is, definitely makes one of those guys expendable. And the crazy part is that I don't think it's Rhamondre Stevenson. Now, Rhamondre Stevenson obviously needs to make sure he's taking care of the football a little bit better, but Rhamondre Stevenson is the running back that they have, really the only running back that they have that can put his shoulders down, can run through a guy, can get those really tough yards. That's not what Antonio Gibson is. Antonio Gibson is their faster running back, is their more elusive running back, is the running back that they have that can catch passes out of the backfield. If there's any player that TreVeyon Henderson is, I don't want to say comped to, but if there's any player that he's redundant to in the Patriots running back room right now, it's not Rhamondre Stevenson. It's Antonio Gibson. So I'm going to be really interested to see how this running back core ultimately shakes out. You know, I still think that we're going to see each of these running backs make the final roster. Like I said, Josh McDaniels, he doesn't run a bell cow type of running back room. He runs running back by committee. Think of some of the most iconic years here in New England, right? You know, even as of late with Josh McDaniels, you would have LeGarrette Blount, James White, Rex Burkhead, Dion Lewis, man, even J.J. Taylor in the back end there right before McDaniels left. So he was always infamous and iconic for running running back rooms that had 3 or 4 guys on that active roster. So we'll be interested to see how the ultimate room is going to shake out. But here in the second round, the Patriots go best player available, and they go running back TreVeyon Henderson. And this is where I want to kick it to you guys and get kind of your final thoughts before we log off here. I want to make sure I get into these super chats though real quick. Super chats always get first priority. We got Trey coming in here with a massive $20 donation, man. Shout out to Trey for the big time support, man. It means a lot to me. Says, I swear this fan base gives me endless migraines when it comes to the Campbell pick. They complain about the O-line sucking. Then they also complain when the team uses a draft pick to fix it. Nothing can ever satisfy them. Yeah, man, it gives me a headache too, but I kind of just, stopped it because you know what? At the end of the day, we knew Will Campbell was a Patriot. And guess what? Will Campbell is now a Patriot. So anybody can be upset. Anybody can complain about it. But at the end of the day, complaining about it isn't going to change the fact that Will Campbell is a New England Patriot, which, by the way, guys, broke down with Rob yesterday our reaction, our analysis on the Will Campbell pick. So make sure you guys check out that live stream from yesterday. It's up on the channel. If you want to know a little bit more about Will Campbell, what does he bring to the Patriots and how does that outlook look like? Essentially what we did here for TreVeyon Henderson, but instead we did that with Will Campbell. But I do agree with you, Trey. It feels like a lot of the fans here, a lot of Patriots fans will complain, you know, oh my God, Rhamondre Stevenson sucks. Oh my God, Drake Maye sucks. Oh my God, Antonio Gibson sucks. It's like, they don't suck. There's just no blocking up front, right? I mean, it's kind of one of the situations where if every single one of your roommates has a problem with you, you're probably the problem, not them. It's the same thing in this instance, right? If Drake Maye is having problems, the passing game is having problems, the running game is having problems, special teams is having problems blocking on field goals and punts, it's probably the blocking. It's probably the offensive line that's having those issues. But man, right now they are adding to the offense in this draft, and I absolutely love it. Like I said, maybe a couple of other options that maybe I would have went with if I was the one making the picks here, but you can't deny the fact that this is a really good selection by the Patriots. I don't think this is a question on did the Patriots reach? They didn't. They got very good value. This isn't a question on, is this going to be an impactful player? It is. A guy that had first round hype leading up to the start of the 2025 NFL draft. So nonetheless, good selection by the Patriots. I know some people would say you shouldn't use a pick on a running back this high, but again, if you want to have a dynamic offense, it doesn't just start up front. It doesn't just start with the passing game, but you also need to have a good running game too. You have to be operating well in all 3 phases. But guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel for all your New England Patriots news, thoughts, reactions, breakdowns, all that good stuff. The Patriots do still currently have 2 picks, 2 more picks that they are expected to make today. They might trade up, they might trade down. But one thing I can promise you guys is that for every selection the New England Patriots make today, as soon as they make them, I will be hopping on here to put up a stream and come break down the player for you. So make sure you guys turn on that bell notification so that you get notified when I do go live. Leave a big like on your way out. Supports the channel tremendously. And let me know in the comment sections below, what do you think about the addition of TreVeyon Henderson? And what do you think of the Patriots draft so far, going Will Campbell in the first and TreVeyon Henderson in the second? Let me know in the comment section below. And until later today, guys, go Pats.